She's My Prey by Celeste King, Episode 2.
Tell me, Samara, is it as good as you remember?
You're talking about the story, right?
Sure, sweetheart.
It's even better than I remember. Especially being able to listen to all of the chapters in one go without having to wait for the next episode to drop on YouTube.
Yeah, worldsofprotheka.com really has the right idea. Even when it comes to getting 30% off of the entire first season and any other digital products with code YouTube30.
Speaking of, revisiting this story has given me quite a few ideas of my own.
Oh, I bet you do.
Care to help me try them out?
How can I resist when you give me that look?
This is Episode 2 of She's My Prey by Celeste King.
Chapter 7. Renem. The dark elf shivers, fear emanating from every pore. I'm almost drunk off the scent, but I need to know what the other scent is. If I want to know, I'll need to change tactics. I can't seem threatening just yet. I have to put the creature at ease. So I position myself in a non-threatening posture, trying to look smaller and less aggressive. Tell me, what is that scent? I repeat. My voice is still deep and rumbling, but I work to keep the growl out of it. I lean in to sniff it again. Everything in me feels warm whenever I breathe it in. I want to get lost in the scent, to drown in it. I want to rub up against the elf to get the scent into my skin. The dark elf stares at me, eyes wide, and I take another whiff. But this time, the sour scent of piss erases the wonderful smell. I glance down and see that the useless thing has pissed itself in fear. How disgusting! What an utterly worthless creature. Pathetic! I spit at him. Did he urinate on himself to erase the scent? The dark elf looks so frightened, he's clutching at a necklace around his throat. I'm going to kill him now, end his worthless existence. I have the scent memorized and I don't need him anymore anyway. I'll enjoy tearing him apart limb from limb. And then I'll clean him up to get rid of the sour scent of piss before I devour him. This one deserves to be eaten. I raise my hand, shooting it out to strangle him and be done with it, but the elf smirks as the necklace lights up, and he disappears on the spot. Gods! I stare at the spot, the stench of his strange magic stuffing itself up my nose. I won't be able to catch up to him now. I stare into the distance, wondering if it's worth trying to find him again. Probably not. At least, I still have plenty of food to eat. Forgoing pursuing the dark elf, I bend down and grab the first body, tearing chunks off him as I gobble him down. The hot blood slides down my throat easily as I swallow, warming me from the inside. This has been a wonderful night. All that dark elf fresh meat and a strange new scent to find. As I eat, I contemplate the way that scent made strange things rise in my body, sensations that I don't yet have a name for. It was quite a different experience. I wonder what it means. I've heard before that sometimes Wera can find one whose blood calls to them. Blood song, it's called. There's something out there that gives off a blood song for me. It's compelling, and I can't focus on anything else. The dead elves are particularly potent, and the more of them I consume, the more magic thrums inside of me. I feel it rush through my blood, pounding in my veins, lighting me up as new connections are made in my brain. The buzz is incredible, more than I could have hoped for tonight. I'm half a mind to track down the dark elf that escaped later on, just so I can consume more of his powerful guards. Licking my face clean of blood, I head down to the river to wash off so I can track the wonderful scent that I discovered. I want to track that scent alone, no distractions. So I can't be seen this time, much less leave any kind of bloody trail. The Wera in me is eager to continue hunting, but the part of me that is drawn to the blood song wants to get started right away in tracking it down. I compromise by deciding that I'll track the one who gives me blood song and eat any wayward elves I find along the way. It's satisfying to track the scent, different from other hunts I've initiated in my centuries on this planet. I have trouble picking it up at first, because the dark elf's piss soured the beginning of the trail, but eventually I find it again near the large gardens on the edge of the city. The scent intrigues me. What is it about this scent that is so different from all others? What is it about this scent that makes me feel so calm inside? I need to know whose blood calls to me. The trail goes cold at the far entrance to the gardens again. Gods, I despise the worthless dark elf that got away from me. I vow to myself to find him again one day and eat him. I refuse to let such sniveling prey get away. But first, I must find the owner of this scent. The trail has gone cold, and I'm starting to get frustrated. I find a low-caste dark elf asleep on a stoop, shivering in the cold air. I end its life quickly, consuming it greedily. This gives me the boost I need to keep going. Slinking through the deserted streets, I manage to pick up faint traces of the scent here and there. It's quite the challenge, which only makes me more determined to find its source. It calls to me, seductively beckoning me forward. The scent is like nothing I've ever smelled before. The stars twinkle above as though mocking me for my seemingly futile quest to find the scent's owner. I ignore them, knowing that I am all but a god in my own right, and therefore am entitled to everything this world has to offer for me. The night is clear and cloudless. A cool breeze whips past me, fluttering my tattered garments. I pick up the scent again near the docks, breathing deeply as I get down to the ground and inhaling the scent again before setting off. Whatever the dark elf has done tonight, he's spent much time wandering around. I won't speculate what he's been up to. I can only guess. But he's been to quite a few places in the city. I would assume he's used his magical amulet to transport himself at some points, since those are where I lose the scent again. But I'm determined to find the source, so I keep going. Every molecule in my body is vibrating with energy. I have purpose. I have something to hunt. Even more than the previous 2 hunts of the night, my blood sings in excitement and anticipation for this one. The thrill of the chase is what fuels me right now, running all over the city as I sniff out the delicious scent that's been calling to me all evening. I feel the stillness of the city around me, as though there's something unspoken in the air. Careful, all who wander. There's a beast on the hunt. Beware, beware and hide from him. No matter. There is no scent I cannot track, no smell I cannot find. I've been evolving for centuries into the perfect predator. Every higher conscious being I've consumed has only strengthened me, given me more magic, more intelligence. I've had the chance to perfect my sense of smell, to track even the faintest and the oldest tracks. A large prey beast could have wandered through the area 6 months ago, and I could pick up his trail and hunt him down before he could even realize I was coming after him. I feel like I'm getting closer, though the agitation rises as I realize that this elf has doubled back to several places in the city. I've hit the same bar twice now, and once I found myself doubling back to a particular alleyway only to realize that the elf relieved himself here several times over the course of a few days. What is it about the spot that has him returning nightly to piss here? It's a nondescript, out-of-the-way place. Who knows? All I care about is finding the source of the scent that was clinging to the elf like a vine wrapped around a tree. It was separate and distinct from his, but entwined like he'd been somewhere recent enough for it to get all over him. The delectable nature of the scent is intriguing. I don't know much about emotions. I've consumed enough dark elves to realize that there is more to life than famished hunger and endless hunts. I don't care about that, but I know there's more. But I've only ever known my hunger, my drive for more, the urge to track, to eat, to sleep, to digest. So now I'm faced with an unknown emotion inside of me, and I want to know what it is, and why I feel it so strongly when I smell this scent. Creeping along a darkened alley, I hear rustling in the distance. Someone is throwing their garbage out late in the evening, and has been caught unawares. I'm getting closer to the source of the scent now. I can feel it. Do I deviate from my hunt to snatch up this emboldened elf who dares venture out in the darkest hours? Or do I stay the course, remain rigid on my hunt and track the source? I debate myself in my head, weighing the pros and cons. If I deviate, I may well risk losing the scent again. I'm so focused that I don't want to stop just now. But if I stop, I can get another tasty snack. Glancing up at the night sky once more, I contemplate my decision. Right to the source it is. I'm as satiated as I can be right now, and despite the ever-present gnawing hunger I feel, I know more prey will do little to remedy it. Only this strange scent seems to take the edge off, dull the sharp pangs of hunger that live within me. I follow a path leading from this dingy district of the city through a thicket of woods, the smells of urine and bodily fluids fading as that strange scent grows stronger. Flashes of stone and lumber begin to flash through the gaps in the trees, and I crouch slightly, making sure to move quietly. Sniffing the air deeply once more, I feel it in my skin. I'm right there, right upon the source of the scent I've been so dutifully tracking. Approaching my destination with careful, measured footsteps, I glance up, adrenaline pumping through my body. Perfect! I stare at the building before me. Is the source itself inside?
Chapter 8. Sadie. "Don't you ever disrespect me like that again," Madame Fleur hisses, getting right up into my face. The terror inside me wells up, and it's all I can do to keep from crying. Next time, I won't restrain myself. She pulls back and studies me, violet eyes hard and flashing with anger. I realise with no small relief that the madam would never beat me, not when she's on the verge of turning me into a prize tourer for sale. "You're not off the hook, though," she says fiercely, grabbing me by the arm and yanking me towards her. "March!" she says, pushing me in front of her. We walk quickly back through the halls, up the stairs to the dormitory floor. I don't know exactly what she's going to do until she does it, but she's shoving me through the door of my room and turning the large brass-handled key in the lock. "No dinner for misbehaving brats!" she yells. The punishment isn't the worst I could suffer, but my thoughts turn to the other girls. They're trapped right now, about to face the madam's wrath all alone. I can't let my friends be hurt, not when she's in this kind of mood. I panic, throwing myself at the door. "Madame Fleur!" I yell, listening to her footsteps echo through the hall. "Please, Madame Fleur, let me go!" It's no use. The madame is gone, doing who knows what to the girls from class. I can only imagine how painfully Louisa is going to be punished after earlier. "Please," I scream again, "let me out!" I bang on the door again, knowing that no one can hear me, and even if they could, they wouldn't do anything to help. The madame runs a tight ship and tolerates no disrespect or rule-breaking. I continue knocking and banging for what feels like hours, but in reality, it is only about 20 minutes before the madam returns. She opens the door, looking eerily calm. Gone are the narrowed eyes, the seething rage that bubbles under the surface. She's got her violet eyes trained on me right now, looking me up and down. "You understand why you're being punished, right, child?" she asks, tone motherly once more. It does something inside me, makes me crave her attention and affection. I have no memory of any family prior to being found by the madam and taken into the bordello. It's as though I didn't exist before then. So her motherly affection, her approval is something I've been conditioned to crave. Maybe I could have stood up for my friends harder, maybe I could have pushed back a little more, but I was scared. I didn't want to rock the boat. Didn't want to risk upsetting the only source of family I've ever known. I don't want to be the bordello's princess, but I found the crown thrust upon my head to fit all too easily for far too long. "Please let me out," I say breathlessly, eyes wide and pleading. "Please, I'll be good, I promise. No more mistakes." "I'm trying to help you," the madam says, shaking her head as though I were merely an errant child. "You will never learn if I'm too soft on you. You need to know your place." She reaches out, cupping my chin in her hand. "If you are good and learn your lesson, tomorrow you may have breakfast," she says, her hold getting tighter until she's pinching my chin hard. "You must remember what happens to people who dare disobey me or step over my head. Next time you'll remember this well, won't you?" she asks, forcing me to nod my head in agreement. She lets go and I resist the urge to rub my chin with my fingers. Now, settle down, darling. You need your rest. She smiles at me, a sickeningly sweet one that doesn't reach her eyes, and slams the door in my face, turning the key in the lock once more. Guards, keep an eye on her, she says, talking to the humans employed to keep watch over us as though we're criminals. No! I scream, throwing myself at the door so hard that I hurt my arm, watching a bruise blossom. Let me go! Let me out! Madame Fleur is already gone, and I know that this time she's not likely to come back. Maximus Apuleius, please let me out, I beg, trying to appeal to the guards. I've known them for a long time. They've served us and played games with us in secret and have treated us kindly most of the time. Sorry, miss, Maximus says, sounding apologetic. We have our orders. The madam isn't to be disobeyed. I can't get either of them to budge on letting me out. What am I going to do? I can't be locked up here all day and night. I can only imagine the punishment that the girls will face if I'm not there to help temper the madam. I need to protect them. I owe it to them to protect them. Everyone needs someone to look out for them and to make sure they are all right. If I can't be protected from marrying indoor, I can protect my friends from the madame. I cast about, trying to come up with a solution to this dilemma. I can't get out, but I need to find a way to get a message to the other girls, or to get to them. The guards won't budge. Apuleius tells me to calm down and accept that I'm in a situation of my own making. They're no help. Pacing the room, I glance out the window trying to figure out some solution. If only I could get down there. Wait, down there. Down! I can climb down. I stare out the window, calculating it. There are 5 floors total to the building. I'm on the top floor and the dining hall is on the 3rd floor. I only need to go down 2 levels. It's not going to be easy. I gulp, staring at the ground. It's awfully far away, but I don't have to go all the way down. Just a little ways, I tell myself. I can climb the balconies down, get down by going from floor to floor. It will be easy if I don't think about it too hard. Steeling myself, I open the tiny balcony door and ease my way out. I'm not afraid of heights, but neither am I entirely thrilled with them. I have a healthy respect for gravity. Hitching up my skirts, I take a deep breath, swallow hard, and step onto the metal railings. My boot slips from the railing at first and I shake, inhaling sharply. Gods, Sadie, get it together. They need you right now. You can do this. I secure my footing and lift my leg, climbing over the metal grate until I'm on the outside, holding on tightly. I accidentally glance down and immediately screw my eyes shut as I realise how high up I am. The wind is blowing, and I feel it tousling my hair as I ease myself along the ledge. A sudden gust shakes me hard and I nearly get yanked off the ledge. I swallow the scream that threatens to erupt and start sliding down the grate, dangling over the balcony for the 4th floor. This is where I was taken to the exclusive private reception. I ignore the sick feeling in my belly from just remembering what happened earlier here and focus on lowering myself onto the 4th floor balcony. I hit the ground with a thump and almost stumble, but I've made it. 1 floor down, only 1 more to go. I eye the corridors through the open doorway, wondering if I can go through this door and into the hall. But then I spot a guard patrolling and I have to duck behind the curtain to hide, heart hammering in my chest. Taking a few deep breaths, I wait until I hear his footfalls walking away before slowly sliding myself along the metal railings, easing myself over once more. I'm standing on the ledge when it hits me what I'm doing. I am literally climbing down the side of the building right now, no way of protecting myself, just to save my friends. Why am I doing this? Why am I risking life and limb for girls that hate me? I can't go. I'm scared. It's so high up. My hands are clammy, and I don't know if I can hold on properly. What if I fall? What if I hurt myself? Maybe I should just go back now. I glance up, trying to decide what to do. I'm having second thoughts about jumping down. I can't do this. But I can't leave the girls alone either. I'd be just as bad as them if I did. I'd be acting exactly how they accuse me of being. I'd be nothing but the bordello's princess, lounging in her tower while they're forced to endure lessons and punishments. Pushing myself to be brave, I slowly start to ease myself down the railing, so I'm dangling over the third-floor balcony when the wind shifts again and starts blowing me back and forth. I squeal in panic and kick my feet out, trying to get back up. I can't do this. I've changed my mind. I'm not brave enough to do this anymore. Okay, you can do this, Sadie, I tell myself. Just a little more. I look down and gulp. Oh no, the drop is much farther than I expected. The drop from 5th to 4th wasn't as big, was it? I'm trying to get the courage to let go when I hear a shout, startling me. Sadie! I panic, and in my momentary lapse, I accidentally let go, feeling the air whoosh around me as I fall through the sky, tumbling down. I scream and screw my eyes shut, hoping my death won't be too painful. Chapter 9. Sadie. My heart is racing. I'm certain I'm about to meet my end. This is it, I guess. At least I don't have to marry indoor. Just when I think I'm a goner, I feel someone's hand yanking me towards them, arms wrapping around me to cushion my body from the hard floor of the balcony. Sadie! Annika cries out. God's below! I've got you! I open my eyes to find her face contorted in pain. Annika! I can't believe you, she scolds lightly. I was just on my way to you when I saw you climbing down the balconies like a death-defying stuntman. Why? I ask, my heart still beating like crazy. Is Madame Fleur... Annika grabs my arm. The Madame is punishing Louisa even more. She's being beaten practically bloody, Sadie. It's bad. I escaped so I could find you. You're the only one who could hope to stop her. I couldn't watch her beating Louisa. It's all my fault, I say, a sob choking my throat. I embarrassed the Madame in front of the dark elf suitor. She's taking her rage out on Louisa because she can't hurt her precious treasure. Oh, Sadie. Annika's lip quivers. Everything is a mess. We need to go now. You have to see if you can stop her. The Madame only ever listens to you. Even if you deny it, you're the bordello's princess. If it's because you're her favourite or you're the most valuable, it doesn't matter. You can stop her, she urges me. I know, I say, wringing my hands uselessly. Let's go. We can't let her hurt Louisa or anyone else. Taking off, the two of us run hand in hand together to the dining hall. When we arrive, the sight before me is enough to make me gasp and stumble backwards, hand on my heart. There Louisa is, laying on the table like a common dribber, trussed for supper, tied with her hands behind her back. She's completely naked and tears are streaking down her cheeks. Screams rip from her throat, desperate pleas for the Madame to stop. But Madame Fleur just keeps beating her with her walking stick. You useless little whore! The Madame screams. This is what happens to girls who disobey me. She hits her again, even though Louisa is bleeding and has red, angry welts all over her backside. The screams are unbearable and I reach out, intending to stop this farce. No! Annika whispers harshly, grabbing my hand and pulling it down before I can do anything. You can't. I wanted you to stop her, but she's gone mad. I'm scared for you. What if you get punished instead? She asks, tears in her eyes. I can't let her beat Louisa like this. I hiss, heart aching in my chest. We should go back, Annika pleads. We can pretend we were never here. It wasn't even this bad when I left. No, I shake my head. We have to help Louisa. Madame Fleur will beat her to death at this rate, but she won't kill me, I say, gritting my teeth and balling my hands into fists. No, she won't touch her precious little treasure. Are you sure about this? Annika whispers, glancing at the Madame, who is still beating Louisa harshly with her stick. Yes, I say. Annika releases her hold, and I square my shoulders, marching forward. Stop! I yell, putting myself between Louisa and the madame. Her strike comes down on my shoulders and I gasp, the pain travelling all the way through my arms and back. Stop it! Go away! Louisa sobs. Don't help me, stupid Sadie. Her voice is cracked, broken. You did this. Now you get to watch me suffer. I think Louisa is practically delirious with the pain and I ignore her. I'm not going to let her die because of me. You little bitch! The madam screams. How dare you? You dare to defy me because you have a backer now. You think yourself so high and mighty. I'm the one who took you in, you worthless orphan. You would be nothing without me. The madam has clearly gone crazy. I'm trembling, frightened out of my wits, but I hold my position. You won't hurt me, I say, trying to sound braver than I feel. You won't hurt me. She looks down at me, violet eyes gone cold. I have to deliver you. Nothing says I have to do it in one piece. Pulling something off her belt, I gasp when I realise she's got a whip. Madame Fleur! I shriek, but the woman raises her hand and brings the whip down onto my side. Pain. White, hot, unending pain erupts on my skin. Gods! I scream out, body contorting as I try to escape the pain. Sadie! Annika shrieks, rushing towards me. At the last second, though, Monica and Flora stop her, along with a few of the other girls who also despise my position here. They've got her trapped in their arms, refusing to let her come to my aid. It's time the brat is finally punished, Monica declares. You deserve it, stupid Tora bitch. My mind flashes back to the second time Monica got in trouble at the academy. We were all sitting in sewing lessons, working on our embroidery projects when someone yawned loudly. Everyone turned in my direction. It wasn't me, but it sounded like it came near me, and everyone always blamed me for things like this. I'm sorry, am I boring you? The madam looks at us furiously. Her eyes zero in on Monica, who's sitting 2 seats to my left. Monica, come up here. I'll have to make sure you're wide awake for our lessons. No, please, Monica says, sounding panicky. Madame Fleur, it wasn't me. I swear, it wasn't me. It was Sadie. Sadie yawned. Nonsense, the madam says, shaking her head. Sadie is a good girl. She would never yawn in lessons. Please, Monica begs frantically. It wasn't me. It was too late. You'll get yours someday, you stupid Tora bitch. She screams at me as the madam forces her to her knees. I scream out as I feel the whip land on my skin once again. Maybe I should step on your head and crush it under my boot, the madam says with a cruel laugh. Show you your place will always be under me. How could you ever think you were better than me, you spoiled little bitch? The whip cracks down onto my skin again, and I curl into a ball, trying to protect myself from the harsh stings. She's completely lost it. I don't know what exactly set her off about the entire thing, given that she's been eager to deliver us into the hands of the highest bidders since the day we began our lessons. But something about the entire exchange has clearly pushed her buttons beyond what she's capable of controlling anymore. The whips rain down on my skin, and it tears open, beginning to bleed. I can feel the hot liquid seeping through my dress. She's always thought she was better than us, Monica calls out, a sick, twisted grin on her face. She called herself the Bordello's princess this morning, told us she was going to show us our place once she had herself a patron. You ungrateful little whore, the madam screams, pulling back. Vibsik, Oshai, Rukumi, she calls out to 3 of the dark elf servants who work here on behalf of their masters. Get over here! They come forward, identical looks of glee on their faces. My stomach churns, anxiety spiking inside me. My heart is beating so hard, and I feel like I might pass out from the pain. Let's see what Indoor will think of our Bordello princess when these servants are finished with you. Fear prickles inside me, gooseflesh erupting over my skin. I shake, wondering what the servants will do to me. Is she seriously going to feed me to the wergs? You can't, I say, voice cracking as I try to protest. You can't do anything like that. You can't. He won't want me. You'll lose the deal. Madame Fleur smirks, stepping forward and caressing my cheek. Oh, my little darling princess. I can get away with it. As long as you're alive, the Duke's family will still take you. Two of the servants step on either side of me, grabbing my arms. Stop, I beg. Stop this. I never said those things. Monica is lying. You've always thought you were better than the rest of them, the madam scoffs. Now you'll truly understand your place here. Did you really think that I didn't see the way you believed yourself so much better than the other girls? Now you'll experience what you truly deserve. No! I scream, trying to plead with Madame Fleur. Please, don't do this. Don't believe her. Monica is lying. She hates me. She'll say anything to get me punished like she thinks I deserve. Please, madam. I don't know why you hate me. Please. My screams are useless, though, as the madam looks down at me with a sadistic smirk. Take her away. She waves a hand, and the dark elves tighten their grip on me. I thrash, trying to get away, but it's useless. Their strength is much greater than mine. I don't know what to do. I want to be sick. I feel sick to my stomach. Every part of me is aflame with pain, and I'm nauseous, and I know what is coming for me. I can't stop it. I can't fight it. I try to bite down on one of the dark elves' hands, but he hauls back and smacks me across the face. Be still, he orders, an identical sadistic grin on his own face. They prepare to haul me off when the sound of an earth-shattering explosion echoes through the dining hall, glass and wood flying in every direction. Every eye turns to see what caused it, and I can't believe my eyes as another inhuman scream shatters the still air. What is that? And what is it doing here?
In a world of elves, demons, and liches.
What would you choose?
Power?
Or passion?
Would you stab the monster in the back?
Or take him to bed?
The immersive fantasy audiobook bundle has it all.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com to get access.
Use code YouTube30 to get an additional 30% off.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.
Chapter 10. Renem. The building is 5 stories tall and surrounded by plenty of armed dark elves. I don't have the time to fight off every single one to get to the one whose blood sings, the call too persistent, so I carefully circle the building, staying just out of sight so I can track the precise location of the scent. It permeates the building, but it's currently strongest and freshest from a spot near a large window on the 3rd floor. I examine the window fixedly, certain that this is my best option. With a mighty roar, I throw myself at the window, bursting inside in an explosion of glass and wood debris. The smell is almost overpowering here, strong enough to make me certain I found the one who gives Bloodsong. The creature has to be bleeding with the way the scent is overtaking everything else. The area seems to be a dining hall of sorts. I look around, shouting in satisfaction. "I found you," I call out, ready to claim my prey. "I've tracked you down. Come out wherever you are." The smell is so good it makes me hungry, but not for food. Strange. I'm not sure what I'm hungry for, but I'm here for the creature. As I scan the room, I realize that this is some kind of place full of humans, many human females. Is the creature a human female? It's hard to tell. Everyone in here is going crazy at the sight of me, running in many different directions or cowering under heavy wooden tables. Elven guards are throwing themselves at me, attempting to stave off my attack. They thrust swords and other weapons towards me, but I bat them away as if they were merely flying insects. Someone sounds an alarm and a bell begins tolling heavily, ringing loud enough to send more guards into the room, both human and elf alike. It's becoming more overwhelming than I'm used to, more than I normally take on at once. I'm distracted momentarily by the scent of the Bloodsong, and one of the elves manages to stab me in the side. With a howling cry, I stagger backwards, roaring loudly. An elf comes at my left flank and I manage to dodge the attack, swiping at it fast enough that it goes flying backwards. I crash into 2 elves holding onto a human, and for a moment we lock eyes before the elves holding the human drop their hold and go after me instead. "Don't even think about it!" I growl, pushing them back. They have no idea what they're up against. I grab one and crush him directly into the floor. The other manages to give me the slip. He's slight of build and faster than I would have expected, and he dodges my attack, ducking under my outstretched arms. He manages to get a hit in, and I cry out again, blood pouring down my shoulder from where he struck out. I'm fully distracted trying to keep the legion of elves and humans at bay, too busy to look for the one whose scent calls to me. I can't focus on that when it's imperative that I keep them from overwhelming me completely. I've never been in a situation like this before. The most I've ever fought head-on at once was about 6 or 7 elves. I tend to stick to my home in the forest, and so I don't find large groups out there. In fact, even in the city, I've never run into more than 5 or 6 at a time. There has to be at least 24 men attacking me now. It's going to be a tough fight, but I refuse to give up. I'm not weak, not a coward, and I am not afraid. I will fight until I cannot fight any longer. I must get my hands on the human female. She has to be here somewhere. It's too chaotic around here, and I'm too distracted, but I know she's nearby. I can sense her. But with all the scents clashing around as well as the heavy bloodshed, her scent is getting masked. Another elf comes at me, swinging his sword. I bat it out of his hand, but just as I go in to grab and squeeze the life out of him, I'm struck with a blade on my other arm. Perhaps I should give up? Would this little human female even be worth fighting this hard for? What am I doing? I am a solitary creature. I have no idea why I've decided to fight my way through these crowds just to find one measly human. If I give up, I can head back into the forest and regroup. I have a plan. I'll work my way back out of this place, regroup and come back when I've had my fill of dark elves with enough power in their blood to take on a whole legion of guards. But then I berate myself. What am I if not the top of my game right now? I drank so much blood and ate so many dark elves last night that surely I'm capable of taking out a few stupid human guards and a few dark elf ones. I can't let them get the best of me. I'm strong, I'm capable. I'm all but a god after all. Letting out a mighty roar, I silence the entire room. Everyone freezes, staring at me. Their eyes never leave me, even as I move slowly, the wounds on my body healing themselves. I pull myself up taller, surveying the crowd. There are plenty of people here full of fear, terror in their eyes, pouring out of them in waves. It's enough to call to my baser instincts, to want to rip them apart and feed. As I catch the scent again, though, my mind clears. The smell is still covered from the scent of food and blood in the air. I spot a tall, black-haired woman with violet eyes, huddled in a corner, shaking as she stares at me. Is that it? I sniff the air, approaching her. She smells strongly of what I'm after. But it's not her. Continuing onward, I keep sniffing the air. "Nobody move!" I order them, "or I'll kill you all!" They have no idea what I am. I'm a myth to them, a legend. No one truly believes in my kind. We're the stuff of nightmares, of terror. It doesn't help that I let a few dark elves live, just to spread the stories about me. The thought makes me drop my jaw open, savoring the way the crowd fills with the sweet smell of fear and desperation. I scan the room again, eyes landing on a petite red-headed girl, and I stalk my way over, sniffing her intently. What is that smell? It's putrid. What is that? I demand. She's sobbing and shakes her head. She doesn't know what I'm asking about. It smells awful, like old herbs that have rotted. I move on from her, still searching for the one that calls to me. I'm close. I turn my head slowly, zeroing in on her. I stalk over and sniff. Not her either, though I smell the scent of piss in the air and shake my head in disgust. What is it with these humans pissing themselves? My senses are becoming muddled with the need to hunt, to find. I want to track the human and get out of here. I'm not afraid of these guards, but neither do I want to stay and face them any longer. They have numbers on their side, and I'm too distracted by the one I'm after. I let out a low growl and someone whimpers, attracting my attention. There, I smell the scent again. Slowly creeping over, I sniff her. Is she it? She looks up at me with wet, dark eyes. Her nose is red and running with snot. I lean in, inhaling deeply. Not her. Gods. I growl loudly and pick her up by the throat, squeezing. I'm determined to get something out of this endeavor, even if it means taking out every last one of them for hiding her away from me. No! A voice rings out from the crowd. No! Don't! I ignore the voice and continue, but something rams into my side and I turn to look. She claws at my skin, her brilliant blue eyes holding mine with a ferocity that takes my breath away. I've never seen a human act so bravely before. The human female holds my gaze, trembling. In a shaky voice laced with fear, she says, "Let her go." And before I can say something, I finally catch the scent that I've been searching all night to find. I take a deep inhale, breathing it in. It's full and unlike anything I've smelled before, sending rush through me. She elicits things I've never experienced before, but I have no time to ponder it. Her face looks back at me in confusion. I can't stop smelling her. There's something about the scent. It's like I found everything I could ever want. It makes me feel good. I want to bask in it. For the first time, I don't feel hungry. It's as if the racing, hungry feeling inside of me goes away. I don't want to lose the feeling. I have to find a way to keep it. I need to keep her with me. I need to get out of here with her and take her away and bury my nose in the scent and keep it ... It feels so good. It's the best scent in the world. It's you, I say, breathing her in. I'm so absorbed in the song her blood weaves, the way that she calls to me, that I don't notice the guard with his sword raised behind her until it's too late.
Chapter 11. Sadie. Time seems to slow to a standstill as the monster's empty eye sockets find mine. Dim red light pours from the empty orbs, and I'm vaguely aware of a deep, gravelly voice spilling from its fleshless jaws as my body petrifies before it. It takes nearly a full minute for me to comprehend what the creature has said, its skull cocking to the side curiously as it looks at me. It's you. Violent tremors rack my body as I stare up at the thing, and I want nothing more than to give in to my instincts to flee, to run screaming through the halls and hide in some small forgotten corner until the walking nightmare has disappeared, but I know I can't do that. Without warning, the creature lunges toward me. A panicked shriek rips from my lips as I stumble backward, bracing myself for the sharp sting of its claws or teeth, until a dark elf guard goes sprawling beside me, his sword ripped from his hand and clattering on the ground. No, not his sword. His whole arm is ripped from his body, sword still clutched in hand. The dark elf begins to writhe, screaming in agony, and I begin screaming alongside him at the gore. Weak spluttering drags my eyes from the guard and his detached arm, and I look up to find the creature looming above me. Its massive hand is still wrapped tightly around Gigi's neck. Wet, gasping sounds coming from her as she fights desperately for air. My protective instincts take over, and I'm on my feet once again, shoving at the creature as it holds Gigi off the ground in its punishing grip. I don't know what I'm thinking, throwing myself at this monster. I guess I'm not thinking, but I can't let it hurt her. I've been through too much with all of the girls here, whether they've been kind to me or not, but Gigi is one of the better ones. She doesn't deserve to die at the hands of a monster, not now when she still has so much life ahead of her. You don't deserve to die either, a selfish voice quips in my head. You're the one, the monster says, excitement leaking into its terrifying voice. Run! Gigi manages to rasp out around the monster's crushing grip, but I don't so much as look at her. I keep all of my focus on the beast in front of me, trying to gather my courage. Let her go, I manage to say, my voice sounding squeaky and not the least bit threatening. I don't have any illusions that I could possibly fight this thing off, or force it to do what I say, but I can't let it hurt Gigi or the rest of the girls. I rack my mind, trying desperately to come up with some solution to the nightmare laid out before me. I don't even know what this thing wants. How can I expect to sway it? I doubt it's interested in sex or conversations over tea, and that's about where my training ends. Perhaps it's hungry, that same snide voice in my mind whispers. The thought only makes me tremble harder, bile crawling up my throat as I force myself to face the monster. My instinct is to bargain with the thing, to try and sacrifice myself to save the rest of the girls, but I know if I do that, there's a large chance that it will just eat the rest of the girls anyway. "It's you," the beast murmurs again. Without warning, it drops Gigi, who collapses onto the ground in a boneless heap, sputtering and gasping for air as she tries to crawl away. Faster than I can react, both of the monster's massive hands close around my upper arms, nearly taking up my entire torso as its skull comes within inches of my face, its eyeless orbs seeming to peer into my very soul. "Found you," it whispers, its dark, membranous wings fluttering excitedly behind it. Suddenly, I'm thrown over its shoulder, my legs flailing uselessly behind me as the scream that's been building in my throat rips free. The madame is shouting as the creature takes off with me, rounding a corner and sprinting down the hall. I'm certain Madame Fleur is trying to direct the guards to rescue me, to do something, anything, to prevent this creature from taking me. But the last I saw, none of the guards moved a muscle as the creature began its escape. I pound on the creature's back, wriggling and flailing in an attempt to get free, but my efforts are in vain. The beast's massive arm is clamped tightly over my hips, holding me still against its shoulder save for the jostling that comes with each of its massive, hurried strides. I claw toward its massive wings, certain that there'll be some type of weak spot I can take advantage of. But the beast holds me too tightly for me to reach. I shriek, trying to vent out my frustration and fear as I continue to struggle. "Let me go!" I yell, desperation and terror mingling in my high-pitched cry. The creature doesn't respond, doesn't indicate that it so much as heard me, as it turns down another hallway. It dawns on me that the creature must be lost and is trying to find its way out. I doubt a beast like this would have spent much time in a civilized building. My thoughts are interrupted by more shouting, this time from behind me. It sounds like more dark elf guards, and my heart leaps at being so close to my rescue. That hope and relief is short-lived, however, as the commanding shouts give way to screams, coupled with the wet sounds of flesh and the thudding of bodies. When the monster carrying me continues forward, I see what's left of the guards who tried to stop him. Their bodies a mess of red sinew and shattered bone, the lush carpets of the bordello's halls stained dark red with spreading pools of blood. Bile stings the back of my throat, tears burning in my eyes as I choke back my urge to vomit at the gore. My hopes of a swift rescue wither and die in my chest. This thing is too big, too strong. Not even the dark elves are able to rival it. It's going to take me, and there's nothing I or anyone else can do about it. Useless, feral panic begins to claw in my chest, forcing me to renew my efforts in trying to escape. The creature kicks in a set of double doors, and we're enveloped with the high-pitched sounds of human women screaming. My heart squeezes in my chest as the images of the broken bodies of those dark elf guards flash behind my eyes. Is he going to do that to them too? Will everyone in the bordello, even the human women who pose him no threat, meet the same fate? I'm about to start screaming not to hurt them, to try and find some way to protect them, when the beast swivels on his heel and dashes back out of the room again, leaving the terrified women whole in their room. Relief and confusion blend strangely in my chest. I never would have imagined such a nightmarish creature to show discretion between his victims, especially not after he so brutally grabbed Gigi by the throat. Why wouldn't he hurt them the same way he's hurt the others? Is it perhaps because he knows that they pose no threat to him? I should be grateful that the monster left them alone, or at the very least be more preoccupied with my current perilous situation than guessing at a living nightmare's motivations and habits. But I can't help but wonder about why all of this is happening. I don't know if it's bravery or sheer stupidity, but the questions that have been whirling through my mind slip out before I can stop them. What are you? Why are you doing this? Where are you taking me? My words flood out, my voice trembling and catching from fear, and the force of the monster's shoulder blade shoving up into my stomach with its every step. The walls of the hallways blur past me, the beast never tiring or slowing his pace. For a moment I don't think that he will answer me, his fleshless, sun-bleached skull staying fixated on the path ahead. But then his steps slow, if only marginally, and his skull turns slightly, as if he's looking at me out of the corner of his eye. I'm getting you out. His deep, rough voice vibrates up my legs from where they're pressed against his chest. The obvious immortal and terrifying power in his voice alone sending chills racing down my spine. How could anything on this planet, any dark elf or orc or other monstrous, terrifying creature, hope to stand against something this powerful? Despite the beast telling me what I've always yearned to hear, that I'm going to get out of the bordello and leave this life far behind me. The idea of leaving this way, either over a monster's shoulder or in its belly, only terrifies me more. The bordello is all I've ever known. I'm not happy here, certainly, but I have no idea what life is like outside of these pristine, lavish walls. From the stories I've heard the other girls spin in our dormitories, the rest of Protheka is much, much worse than my life here has been. And I certainly don't remember any of those stories, however terrible, including some winged, skeletal, nightmarish beast stealing them away. My mind circles back to everything that's transpired, everything the monster holding me has said and done, and it finally clicks in my fear-addled brain that the monster indicated that it had been searching for me, that it found me. Another wave of panic floods me as we turn a corner, the thoughts connecting at the same time. I realise we're finally on a path that leads out to the main doors of the bordello, a hall that will lead us directly back out onto the path connecting to the city. My fight-or-flight instincts kick in again, and I return to beating at the creature's back, clawing and scratching and screaming, however useless. Let me go! But I fear that I will not be escaping it. And that begs the question, what does this creature want from me, and will I survive it?
Chapter 12. Renem. The little creature begins pounding against my back once again, and I clamp my arm down harder over her hips to help stifle her squirming. Her fists feel like little more than raindrops falling across my shoulders, but it's still rather annoying. I don't know how she expects me to protect her and find my way out of this maze they call a building. Her wriggling, coupled with the pesky dark elves that seem to pop up from around every corner, are significantly slowing what I had intended to be a hasty escape. With every new hallway I turn down, I find another piece of the puzzle of this place, of this human's identity, glaring at me. There are far too many beds and private rooms for a building housing so few women. With each new room I come across, there always seems to be a lingering smell, an undercurrent of something familiar, yet foreign, hidden beneath the flowery perfumes and frilly decorations. It's not until the fourth or fifth bedroom I mistakenly run into that I realize what that smell is, having smelled it in the woods when animals were twined together or sticking to the dark elves I've hunted through dark city alleyways. It smells like sex, the whole building does. The scent of sex mingles strangely with another more familiar smell to me, that furtive, penetrating scent mingling with the overall reek of copulation in varying degrees. Some rooms hold more of that other odor than others, but when I place it, rage and disgust mingle dangerously in my gut. Fear. The same smell that the creatures I hunt give off, the scent pouring out of every inch of their skin as I gnash on their heads. The entire building smells of fear and sex. This place is a whorehouse. I snarl, setting the human across my shoulder trembling. The reek of fear and sex and the stench of dark elves only confirms to me that this building is little more than a setting for torture. It's a terrible place, the likes of which are found all over this damned planet. The lavish baubles and frills do not change what it truly is. A prison of the worst kind. The idea of my human being trapped in a place like this by dark elves or others only further enrages me. She is mine. I will not allow another to touch what is mine. Could this be the bordello those dark elves jeered about, the famous whorehouse of the continent? I involuntarily clamp down on the human's hips harder as the realization of where we are, where I found her, hits me full force. A strangled yelp slips from the human's lips before I remind myself to be gentle. Humans are the most fragile of all my prey, and while this human woman smells even more enticing than the rest, I don't find myself wanting to hurt her as I would others. Other creatures incite my bloodlust without meaning or intent. Simply moving the wrong way can set my hollow gut screaming and gobs of saliva pooling behind my teeth. This one, however, she does not smell like food, not like the others. She smells better, and she is mine. Thinking of her blood, her scent, ignites a strange series of emotions in me. Things I do not yet have names for, but that plague me constantly. I recognize that they are emotions, feelings, for I feel them. But past that, they're little more than mist on the forest floor. There is too much in my head to continue this way. I fear that, while distracted, and while the human is writhing and attempting to escape, I will not be able to adequately protect us. She may get hurt, and if her blood is spilled, what little control I may have over my hunger may snap entirely. Without much more thought, I shove open a set of double doors, slamming them shut behind us and sliding a massive desk in front of them to keep out any unwanted visitors. I toss the human woman down onto a nearby couch, her small body bouncing slightly as it impacts against the overstuffed cushions. She gasps at the sudden motion, lurching as if she's going to try to get to her feet until her eyes land on me, looming above her. She freezes, staring up at me with open terror. Good girl, smart, not to try and run. I let my eyes wander over her, taking in my fill. Her dark hair hangs well past her shoulders, mussed and frazzled from her time spent bent over my shoulder. Wide blue eyes stare up at me through a thick fringe of lashes, doll-like features contorted in a way that makes me think she is feeling something. What she feels, I could not begin to guess, but I decide that while her features are appealing, I do not like what she seems to be feeling for me. Before I can decide what to do about it, however, there's a clamor outside the door, shouting voices and the suffocating stench of dark elves leeching in around the doorframe. The human shrinks away from where I loom over her, her piercing eyes darting toward where the dark elves are beating against the door. The desk, however big, won't keep them out of this room for very long. Her eyes tell me all I need to know, hinting at her intentions to escape. Without thinking, I dart forward again, a shriek slipping from the human's lips as I throw her back over my shoulder. I will not let her escape. I will not let them have her. She is mine. Seconds later, two dark elves burst into the room, their fear-mottled eyes landing on where I stand against the bookshelves lining the room. My human begins her attempts to escape with renewed vigor when she sees them, squirming and writhing beneath my grip, but I refuse to let her gain even an inch. The braver of the dark elves flies at me, his puny sword pointed at me as if he means for it to do something. I bite back a scoff, batting away the useless blade for encircling his head with my free hand, squeezing. The dark elf doesn't even have time to scream before his skull gives way beneath my fingers like overripe fruit, the satisfying crunch of bones and squelching of flesh mingling with the mounting scent of the other guard's horror. Thinking me to be preoccupied, the other dark elf lunges. I fling the body of his companion toward him, the useless corpse's crushed skull slipping carelessly from my bloody fingers and meeting him in his attack, sending the living guard sprawling to the floor. His companion's weight keeps him pinned to the ground as I stalk toward him, huffing breaths through my mouth in an attempt to keep the scent of blood from driving me over the edge. The guard tries to scramble back uselessly, abandoning his weapon on the ground as pure, primal fear overtakes him, the scent becoming so overwhelming that I very nearly lose the restraint I've been clinging to. Not trusting myself to do much else, I raise my hooved foot, smashing it down on the terrified face of the dark elf beneath me, the wet squish and sharp crack of his skull resonating through the space. My little human gags slightly behind me, and something strange tingles in my gut at the sound. Another feeling, something I haven't felt before. I have no time to dissect it before another dark elf rushes into the room. It takes mere seconds for him to make sense of the scene laid before him, his eyes darting wildly between his two fallen brothers in arms, before landing on me once again. Fear has him stumbling backward, and I take advantage of his pathetic lapse, picking up the sword lying by my feet and launching it at him. A startled cry seeps from the dark elf's throat before it gives way to wet gurgling, the sword finding purchase directly in the dark elf's chest and pinning him to the shelf beyond. His arms flail uselessly against the bookshelf behind him, knocking into a small statue as he grapples to try and reach the hilt of the sword, no doubt in an attempt to pull it free of his ribs. The small bust leans back strangely, and a soft click sounds from the frame of the bookcase as the dark elf's squirming motions push it back, revealing a dark passageway between the walls. My little human gulps audibly as the noise echoes, and I pull her from over my shoulder, leveling an assessing gaze at her paling face. "Is this the way out?" I ask, the deep tenor of my voice echoing between us. She shakes her head a little too quickly, and a little too emphatically, causing another, lighter emotion to stir in my chest. This time the emotion surfaces along with a name in my mind: humor. I find it humorous that my little human is trying to lie. I huff a laugh as I toss her back over my shoulder and dart down the dark passage, shutting the bookcase behind me so as not to alert any other lingering guards to where we're going. A door comes into view at the end of the passage, and I race toward it, kicking it down just as we reach it, and basking in the dimming light and fresh air beyond. Out! We're out! And now I can finally leave this hellish city, with my little human in hand. "Let's go," I breathe, tugging her down from over my shoulder again to cradle her, stretching my cramping wings. "No!" she shrieks, her eyes wide as she begins to struggle against me again. I only tighten my hold in response, extending my wings out and giving them a powerful beat. A group of dark elves swarm out from around a corner, but they're too late. I'm already off the ground, and with another powerful beat of my wings, I'll lift even higher. I try again to catch the wind, to soar off into the sky, but my wings are frozen, immobile behind me as if tethered by invisible strings. Stinging seams begin to open in my skin, blood leaking from them as pain begins to pulse from the numerous small openings. My eyes dart toward the group of dark elves with a growl as I spot one off to the side, hands extended as he focuses his fetid magic on me. I flap my wings uselessly, trying to break free of the spell to no avail. A sudden tug on my left wing has me losing my balance, and all of focus zeroes in on regaining it. My little human writhes at exactly the wrong moment, however, and my fingers close around emptiness as she slips from my grasp. Orcs, gargoyles, vampires, ice monsters, demons of the dark. These beasts seek war, destruction, and power. And there's only one thing that can tame them.
Love.
This is your chance to get the uncut and unabridged audiobook bundle.
No detail is spared.
Use discount code YouTube30 for an additional 30% off of the already discounted price.
Go to worldsofprotheka.com.
Get access to countless audiobooks and discounted bundles where I talk you through every last scene.
Protheka's magic is eternal. Audio bundles will make it immersive.